Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it.
Being woke is like a magic moral time machine where you judge everybody against what you imagine you would have done in 1066, and you always win.
Maher just went straight at Whoopi Goldberg, and she wasn't ready for it. For years on The View, she said things that would have ruined anyone else. But Maher had heard enough. He didn't ease her in, and believe me, it was a really brutal takedown. But before we move further, if you enjoy short commentary videos with full breakdowns, take just 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel. Alright, now let's get back to our video.
Capacity for cruelty is a human thing, not a white thing. That's the truth, even though it doesn't jibe with the current narrative. But in today's world, when truth conflicts with narrative, it's the truth that has to apologize. Being woke is like a magic moral time machine where you judge everybody against what you imagine you would have done in 1066, and you always win.
This is modern wokeness in 2 sentences. Pretend cruelty is a skin color. Pretend history began the day you were born. Pretend your particular tribe has the only license to judge everybody else. Critics say this is exactly the disease eating daytime TV alive, and Whoopi sits at the center of it 5 days a week. In Maher's view, the moment you build your moral identity around imagining how brave you would have been 5 centuries ago, you've stopped doing politics and started doing
about Whoopi Goldberg, because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma. Okay, get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis.
Maher, this is the part the audience needed to hear out loud. He didn't start this fight. She did. Whoopi has gone after him repeatedly for his COVID positions, for his wokeness commentary, for refusing to play along with the daytime liberal script. And in Maher's view, when somebody attacks you on a regular basis and says things he flatly calls stupid, you don't owe them politeness. You owe the audience honesty. Critics say this is exactly why Maher is the only liberal still trusted by half the country. He doesn't keep score quietly. He says the truth and walks.
And it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
Maher reveals the name of the show is now an accident of comedy. The View was supposed to be a platform for multiple opinions, multiple women, multiple perspectives, a real debate. Critics say what it has actually become is one loud opinion, 4 softer echoes of it, and 1 token conservative who gets shouted down before every commercial break. To Maher, this is the disease destroying modern liberalism in slow motion. There used to be room for argument. Now, there is one approved take, and anyone who deviates gets sent to the...
They used to just keep hanging people.
It is not even the same. I couldn't step foot wearing this outfit.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto.
I'm sorry.
Listen, I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you, that's why I am saying that it is the same. Someone for their difference is not good, whoever does.
Very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're everybody. Not if you're black.
Do not anyone at the table
listen,
get to
let me tell you about being in this country. This is the greatest country in the world. But yeah, I know that. But every day we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood? They are not big deals, and I don't mean to say they're not big deals to you, because that's not what...
The line that broke the internet. According to Whoopi, living in 2025 America is the same as living in Iran. Critics say this is one of the most insulting things ever said on American daytime television, and the co-host pushing back, Alyssa Farah Griffin, was citing actual facts. Iran's morality police have arrested over 30,000 women since 2022 just for not wearing a hijab. The same regime made global headlines when Mahsa Amini lost her life in 2022 simply for not covering her hair. And the multi-millionaire host of a New York talk show sitting in designer clothes, hair exposed, makeup done, looked at her co-host and said her life is the same as they.
We got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe. They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make.
No way I can make you understand. Critics say that single line is the entire collapse of the modern progressive argument. When you can't defend your position with facts, you retreat to feelings. When the feelings don't work either, you retreat to the idea that anyone who disagrees with you is too dumb to get it. In Maher's view, this is intellectual surrender dressed up as moral superiority. Dr. Sheila Nazarian, an Iranian American whose own father was once put on a government list called Whoopi's Comparison, a slap in the face of the real victims of that regime. Real people who fled actual oppression had to come on the news and explain they are not the same as a multimillionaire on a...
That I was flippant and immoral for saying it's time to chuck the masks and get back to normal. Well, are 43 states here in America and the entire nations of England, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland flippant because they're saying the same thing now? COVID is so much more complicated than just, I'm for more safety than you are, and therefore I'm a better person. But Whoopi is misinformed on many aspects of the COVID debate. After she got it recently, she said that being vaccinated, quote, doesn't stop Omicron, and that's the problem with a variant because it gets stronger. Actually, it usually gets weaker, as is the case with this one. But that's okay. She's allowed to be wrong.
This is the pattern. Whoopi attacks first, says something false, refuses to correct it, then attacks the next person who points it out. On COVID, she claimed being vaccinated didn't stop the Omicron variant, which simply was not true. And Maher, who got widely attacked for being skeptical of the official line, actually understood the science better than she did. Critics say this is what happens when a daytime show with millions of viewers becomes a place where confidence is treated as a substitute for accuracy.
Explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Mm-hmm. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted to make sure that this was a person.
Defends wokeness by claiming it built her career and then quietly admits the obvious. She is a multimillionaire. She has the seat at the table. She has been there for nearly 2 decades, earning an estimated $130 million in pre-tax income from The View since 2007. Critics say her version of wokeness already won. So why is she still acting like she's outside the gates pushing in? In Maher's view, that's the trick of professional grievance. You keep performing the underdog even after you've become the boss.
Trek has been woke from day one. And woke is a good word. It's been given negative connotations, but woke just means you're awake and aware of everything that's going in the world around you. And that's what he's always been about. And that's what Star Trek has always been about. And so we're just carrying on that legacy.
Yes, and as a Starfleet Academy member, please also allow me to respond. If you've never been asleep, you can't be woke. See, this was a show that was created with the idea that people from other planets would come and we would all find a way to exist together. This was Gene's idea. This was his dream. And when you watch Star Trek, that's what it shows.
Then called it daytime woke politics in its purest form. Take a beloved show, drape it in modern phrases, and pretend it was always about your favorite cause. Critics say this is what makes the modern liberal so insufferable to normal viewers. Everything has to be a moral statement. Every old film, every old book, every old TV show has to be retroactively claimed for the cause.
Here's the point. Why are you concentrating on a television show when people are being when people are going hungry, when Farmers are losing their farms. Kids can't get meals at school. Why are you paying attention to this?
To distract from the Epstein file?
Well, to distract from everything.
Maybe.
Confession disguised as a question. To Maher, daytime TV has become exactly this endless culture war over nothing while the country actually falls apart. And Whoopi just admitted it on her own show. Why are we talking about a television series when people are losing their farms, kids can't get meals at school, families are losing homes? Critics say the answer is brutal, because Whoopi has built her entire career on these distractions. And Maher has spent years trying to tell his own side that this is exactly why working voters keep walking out the door.
To street to control the present. And last month, a scholar named James Sweet caught hell for calling them out for doing just that. He criticized the phenomenon known as presentism, which means judging everyone in the past by the standards of the present. It's the belief that people who lived 100 or 500 or 1,000 years ago really should have known better.
This word? Presentism. The belief that everyone who lived before you was secretly a villain because they didn't have your Twitter feed and your seminar notes. Critics say this is the mental disease behind every cancel campaign, every statue teardown, every cringing lecture on cable news.
They called I, Joan, currently being presented in London, written by Charlie Josephine, who identifies as non-binary and uses they-them pronouns. And it portrays Joan of Arc as, surprise, non-binary with they-them pronouns. Which, if you think about it, makes even less sense because Joan, being French, spoke a language where every noun is masculine or feminine. Joan says in the play, I'm not a girl, I don't fit that word, as if she's a character on Euphoria. Now, it's true, Joan of Arc did wear pants, but that's what the soldiers wore, and she was soldiering. But in the retelling, Joan would rather die than stop wearing men's clothing. Okay, Joan of Arc wasn't executed by the fashion police. Her trial went on for over 2 months. We have the transcript. And not once did she complain about being misgendered. She had bigger fish to fry, like herself.
Most courageous women in human history, a teenage warrior who led an army and reduced her to a pronoun debate. Critics say the modern left can't help itself. Every figure from history has to be dragged back to 2026 and forced to validate today's slogans. In Maher's view, Joan of Arc had bigger problems than gender mix-up. She had the entire English army trying to end her. But the modern left thinks the most important fact about her life is whether she would have used the right pronouns at brunch.
Goldberg getting suspended by The View isn't karma, and I wouldn't want it if it was. People have to learn to disagree in this country and not hate for it.
Believe in karma. He believes in conversation. And critics say that's the most damning thing about the modern left. They would rather suspend you, fire you, and cancel you than actually have a debate. In Maher's view, the country can disagree without hating each other. Whoopi's first suspension came over some comments she still defends to this day. The Iran comments came next. The COVID comments before that, all while collecting roughly $8 million every year from the...
That's what I've noticed. But I find that oftentimes when I'm watching the news, I'm only getting portions, because one of the things that happens, I was listening to you talk about the kids that had the Hamas flags. It reminded me of when people were saying Antifa is there, and doing that. So bad players show up and make stuff happen. But do you find that the view that we're being shown seems to be meant to guide us into thinking about people one way, when in fact it may be a much bigger conversation?
Oh, of course. I mean, the media is always going to just chase what is interesting to watch. I mean, I used to be able to watch the nightly news, for example. I can't do it. I mean, first of all, it should be called, here's some video we found that's fun to watch. That's not the news.
Yeah.
Like anything that happens on a plane. Like, the plane skidded off the runway, so what? It's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth. You know, I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out
The moment Whoopi quietly agreed with him on her own show. Narrative over truth. Half the story instead of the full picture. To Maher, that's the entire criticism in one sentence, and Whoopi herself nodded along while saying it. Critics say this is the trap the daytime liberal class has built for itself. They tell viewers what to feel instead of what's actually happening. They protect the narrative even when the facts crash through it, and the country is finally tired of it. Maher has the receipts. Iranian activists have the receipts. Even Fox News host Harris Faulkner called Whoopi's Iran comments despicable on her own show. Whoopi Goldberg makes $8 million a year, telling Americans their country is unbearable, while reportedly owning historic homes around the world and saying out loud she can't afford to retire. Bill Maher said it best. The truth is the one thing nobody on her side is willing to defend anymore. Now, I want to hear from you. So tell me, is Bill Maher the last honest voice left in liberal media? Is Whoopi Goldberg helping the Democratic Party or quietly destroying it 5 days a week? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit that like if Maher said what needed to be said, and